Hi, welcome to QC Crime Watch. I'm Linda Cook.
And I'm Sharon Wren.
And this week, we're going to look back at a couple of things. Mainly one of the biggest crimes that's happened in the Quad Cities in the last 30 years.
Easily.
We've both been following this on and off since 1996. So we'll take you back in time a little bit. Sharon and I both have had a hand in the coverage of this. And we have just a little bit more to add from last week, but the case of Jamison Fisher and Trudy Appleby does continue. So a long time ago in 1996, and I remember when this happened, a little girl went missing from the Illinois side of the Quad Cities. Now, at first, people were very concerned, but they thought she might be with a friend. They thought she would turn up somewhere. Trudy Appleby was 11 years old when she went missing. Her father left the house, went to work, and she had said, "Dad, I want to go swimming." He said, "No, you don't need to go swimming today." But he thinks she did anyway. She took a towel and had her swimsuit. And the last anyone saw of her, she was talking to a man in a boxy, I suppose that means sedan, kind of car.
Yeah.
And days went by, months went by. Vigils happened. And over the years, as these vigils, in her memory, and to create awareness of this case, went on and on. I did meet her dad. This has been some years ago. I met Mr. Appleby. I met a sister that Trudy, of course, never met, and who never met Trudy. And it was just heartbreaking. Trudy's mother was killed in a car accident. So this family has been beset by tragedy over the years. And at the vigil, I saw Mr. Appleby and met him and spoke with him privately. He said, "Honey, I'm going to call somebody out tonight."
Oh, that's when you pay attention.
That's when you pay attention. And so the vigil began, and he got up to talk, and he did. And he said, "David Whipple, I am calling you out. I think you know where my girl is. I know you know something. I'm calling you out right here in public." David Whipple was a person of interest from Kelowna. Now, Mr. Whipple has since passed away. And several other people who were tangentially maybe involved or were possibly involved, they're gone too. But one person I remembered over the years, I remembered his name, and that's Jamison Fisher. 5-ish years ago, I was checking the Scott County arrests, and he was in there. And I thought, I know who that is. That's a person of interest in Trudy Appleby's disappearance. So off to court I went, and this was on an eluding and theft charge. As I recall, I can't remember the exact charges. But I was the only person attending, and Fisher sat sort of in front of me in the defendant's chair. Right. And I do remember this. He was very nervous. He looked around a lot. We locked eyes a few times. He was just nervous. And I thought, that's not the behavior of a person who may have stolen a car.
Yeah.
But then I thought, well, maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe that's all he's done.
Right.
And maybe he hasn't even done that.
Right. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty.
Right, exactly. And just because you're nervous, maybe it was something else.
Right.
So when he was named a suspect not too long ago and charged
last summer,
it's been about a year, hasn't it? Yeah, more or less.
I think in June. A year.
So it hasn't even been a year.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I thought, I've seen him, I've sat with him, I've encountered him, if you will. Now, he faces 3 charges of murder and a charge that means he moved the body. Now, 30 years later, several people are expected to come forward in this trial and say that they either saw Fisher with Trudy when she was still alive after he kidnapped her, or that they saw him assaulting her with other people or that he told them he killed her, that he strangled her. So this trial is coming up. Sharon, you discovered something just a few days ago about this. As this case, I should say, continues.
Yeah, Mr. Fisher, as is his constitutional right, has filed for a change of venue, which means he wants them to move the trial from Henry County, Illinois, to another county. Now, it wouldn't be crossing the river to, like, say, Scott County, because it has to stay in Illinois. There's concern about pretrial publicity, which, goodness knows, there's been publicity about this.
Plenty of it.
So, oftentimes, the defense wants to move the case so they could get more of an impartial jury. And we don't know if the judge has ruled on that or where the case could be moved.
No,
it would not be remotely close to be, an hour or so.
I would say at least an hour away, generally. And I've covered change of venue trials that have come to Scott County from another county.
Right.
And usually it's about an hour away,
Yeah.
but that's no rule of thumb, I don't think.
Because there was a case that took place around Des Moines, Iowa, and they were going to move it to Scott County.
Right.
And that's 3 hours.
3
So
hours.
if it goes anywhere, I'm guessing somewhere southern Illinois.
I am too. But we're only guessing.
We're spitballing,
Right. That is his right to do that. It is his right to say there's been too much pretrial publicity. I cannot get a fair jury. And he probably is right, honestly. Yeah. Everybody knows about this case. Right. Last Friday, and we're recording this on Monday.
Right, Monday the 9th.
The 9th of February. Last Friday, I gave a presentation on this case in Fulton, Illinois. And it was a wonderful audience. They were so up to date on everything. Wow. And a lot of people who followed this case for a long time. So, yes, I think that's a good idea. I think there would be people who would say they didn't have any preconceived notions who might really have preconceived notions.
All right.
So this case is certainly one for the books. It's one that people are going to be talking about. Now, as this moves along with pretrial conferences
and
on
all that other
the
stuff.
27th.
Yes.
The pretrial conferences, I want to explain what those are. We usually don't go to those because they're quick, but they're not anything that it would be interesting to read or hear about.
It's more procedural.
It's exactly procedural. And the judge talks with the attorneys from both sides and says, is there an issue with evidence or testimony or having witnesses come in? So in other words, it's kind of not a dress rehearsal exactly, but a vague outline of what the trial might include. So that's coming up on the 27th, or at least it is now. Yeah. This can be postponed. Lots of things get postponed, as Sharon and I
often at the last minute, literally.
Literally. So, but at this moment, this case is headed to trial, and he has pleaded not guilty, and we'll see what happens. But we wanted to let you know that we're following this. Every day we check the documents and see what has developed. So with that, we have a couple of other stories, crime stories. Sharon has one that's real unusual here.
Oh,
and Sharon, take this one away.
They're all weird today. Once again, we're starting off with a Davenport man who was arrested on a secured $10,000 bond after police say he tried to illegally buy a firearm and then stole a vehicle occupied by a woman and her 7-month-old baby. Yes. Now, the criminal complaints filed in the case say police were dispatched to G&G retailers on West 17th Street on January 29th, about 20 to 2 in the afternoon, and learned that the defendant, who has been identified as Sean Keegan, age 53, entered the retail store and tried to purchase a firearm, knowing that he was prohibited from possessing one due to having an order of protection filed against him. He allegedly used said order of protection as a form of identification.
Okay.
An employee told Mr. Keegan that he was unable to purchase the firearm with that form of identification and had to leave, but he refused to do so. So shortly afterward, Mr. Keegan allegedly stole an occupied 2023 Toyota Tacoma from the parking lot of the store. A 27-year-old woman and her 7-month-old child were inside at the time. He told them to remain seated and drove off. The woman pleaded with Keegan to stop because she was, of course, afraid for her life and the baby's life.
It'd be terrifying if you had a child with you.
And he let them out at 12th and Division Streets. He fled in the vehicle and was later apprehended by the police. He was arrested and charged with 2 counts of false imprisonment, second-degree theft, fraudulent purchase of firearms and ammunition, and trespassing. And he is still in the Scott County Jail on a secured $10,000 bond and has bond review hearing on February 19th.
Okay, so this is going to roll right along.
Yeah,
dear.
Y'all don't use orders of protection
No.
for identification. That's not what they're meant for.
Well, no.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like there was a lot of clear thinking in this.
Yeah, well, when I was reading this, I just kept thinking about, Mr. Keegan's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day.
And it
Pretty
certainly
much.
was. It
Pretty
certainly
much.
was. But he brought it on himself.
Yeah, well,
It sounds like.
allegedly. Yeah,
Allegedly, yes. We'll see.
All right. Yes.
I have one here. It's more of a minor crime. It's not violent. Hunter Bargman, who was accused of graffiti incidents, remember him in 2024,
Yes.
was sentenced on February 4th. And this was, according to a Scott County order, granting deferred judgment. So he had pleaded guilty to charges of conspiracy to commit non-forcible felony and second-degree criminal mischief. And the sentence was deferred, that means put off, for 2 years. There was a civil penalty of about $1,000 imposed. This is what the order says. The order says Bargman was placed on supervised, not unsupervised, probation for a period of 2 years. So every time somebody is put on probation, there are certain conditions that need to be met and followed. In this one, the conditions include that he obtain a substance abuse evaluation and complete any recommended treatment, abstain from the use of alcohol and controlled substances, and submit to random urinalysis testing to ensure compliance, maintain employment, comply with any other conditions set by the probation officer, and this is one we don't get all the time, and complete 50 hours of community service. Other charges were dismissed. Gavin Olson was also involved with the spray painting graffiti incident in 2024, and he pleaded guilty, this was earlier, to a charge of conspiracy to commit non-forcible felony and a charge of criminal mischief. And he, too, had a deferred sentence, was placed on probation during good behavior for a period of 2 years. And this is unless he's sooner released by a probation officer, and that can happen. His conditions are very, very similar to the other man's. And what happened was between October 13 and December 21st, 2024,
couple months.
The police say in affidavits that these two were involved in spray painting graffiti on about 5 properties across Bettendorf. So one of them, let's see here, they spray painted the word TEAR, and if you want to see this graffiti, you can Google or use our search engine on our app, ourquadcities.com, and you can actually see it because there's a picture of it there. Again, the 5 properties involved various businesses. Apparently, one of the men climbed a ladder to get to the top of Red Lobster and damaged the building over $300. One of them was found with 170 cans of spray paint. So that's what a search warrant's for. So when you store the evidence in your home, then it becomes, well, evidence. And I don't know.
How did he get 170 cans? I get carded when I buy one.
I know, I do too.
He must have just made 170 trips or.
There was a lot of thinking that went into this, and although I don't think any property damage is funny,
No.
I also think that this is one of those crimes where if the intelligence that was applied to commit this crime had been applied to helping somebody, we'd have a better world. That's because I think, these are folks that were able to do this, they could help somebody with that. Anyway, that's just
they could have just gotten a nice canvas because spray paint art is a thing.
Why not?
Like oil painting.
Why not?
Okay.
Anyway, that's all done for them, and I wish them well and hope that they turn their energy toward other projects in the future.
All right. Well, we're going to get serious again.
Okay.
A man and a woman, both from Davenport, have been arrested after police say they held another man against his will in a residence while he was so severely assaulted by others that he may lose an eye.
Oh, Sharon.
Yes.
This one's terrible. You and I have spoken about this outside of this podcast.
So the criminal complaint filed in Scott County Court said on January 31st, Davenport police took a report of an assault that had taken place in the early morning hours of that day. Officers determined that the assault took place in the 1200 block of East 11th Street. So the defendants, who've been identified as Jessica Wildermuth, 35, and Chase Keys, 28, are accused of knowingly confining the victim within the residence for an extended period of time without the victim's consent. The victim felt like he was being held against his will and not allowed to leave. Several people assaulted this victim during his time inside the residence, according to the complaint, and he sustained serious injuries that required special medical intervention at the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics in Iowa City, and the injuries may be severe enough to cause extended vision loss, impairment of the function of the victim's eye.
Oh, dear.
Yes. Now, affidavits show that Ms. Wildermuth allegedly admitted in a post-Miranda interview that the assault took place at her residence, and she provided further information supporting the information obtained in the initial report. So they executed a search warrant at the residence and revealed several items of evidentiary value, which is the fancy way of saying they found a lot of evidence. Mm-hmm. So Ms. Wildermuth was arrested and charged with felony counts of first-degree kidnapping and willful injury. Now, kidnapping doesn't mean, you roll down your car window, you grab somebody and pull them in. It could be just you don't get to leave.
Right. It's holding somebody against, almost like hostage, what we think of as hostage.
Yeah, kind of a hostage thing. Anyway, she's being held in the Scott County Jail on no bond and is waiting on her next court appearance. Mr. Keys was arrested and charged with felony counts of first-degree kidnapping and willful injury and a misdemeanor count of first-degree harassment. He was released on a combined cash-only and secured bond of $1,002,000. That's, $1 million and then a bunch of zeros and then the $2,000, and has a bond review hearing on February 17th. Oh my!
Oh my. And there's nothing in the affidavit or complaint about what caused all this.
Yeah, there wasn't any mention of a fight that moved into the house.
Motivation. What motivated them to do this?
Did they follow the victim home
right.
from work or whatever? We don't have details like that. Just that he was there and allegedly getting wumped on.
Wow.
Well,
you have one more.
Yeah, this is a little bit lighter, but still a serious crime. 2 men from Davenport have been arrested after police say they stole 60 shopping carts from Sam's Club and scrapped them. Now, the criminal complaints in both cases say Davenport police were called to investigate 2 thefts that took place on January 3rd and January 10th at the Sam's Club on Elmore Avenue. Now, the defendants, who have been identified as John Spalding, 61, and Daniel Spalding, 62, fled before officers arrived. Now, the Spaldings are very close in age, live at the same address. I would think they may be brothers, but they could also be cousins.
Something like that.
They're related somehow.
Excuse me.
So, the complaints allege that the Spaldings, knowingly and with intent, took 60 gray-blue metal shopping carts from Sam's that they do not have the right to have. They used a Ford F-150 to transfer them from the store, because you're not putting shopping carts in the back of a Hyundai.
All at once?
Well, there was 2 incidents, one on the 3rd and one on the 10th.
Okay. So that would be about 30 per. I suppose you could do that.
Well, 60 shopping carts will run you about $9,000, by the way.
Okay.
Now, the Spaldings are seen taking the carts to Midwest Recyclers shortly after both thefts took place. And the complaints say they sold the carts. January 3rd, they sold 500 pounds of sheet iron worth $37.50 for 500 pounds. And on January 10th, they sold 580 pounds of sheet metal, along with other items, totaling $58.25. They allegedly stole $9,000 worth of carts and got under $100 for them.
And
Okay.
got charged.
And they got charged.
for it.
They have the theft on camera and taking them to the Midwest Recyclers. They admitted after being read their Miranda rights that they went to Sam's Club, took the carts, and scrapped them. Now, John Spaulding was arrested and charged with second-degree theft and conspiracy to commit a non-forcible felony.
And the conspiracy there, by the way, isn't like a conspiracy theory.
It's like a plan.
Yeah, it just means that he planned with the other man to do this, that's all.
Now, he's been released on a secured $10,000 bond and has a preliminary hearing on February 13th. Daniel Spaulding was also arrested, charged with second-degree theft and conspiracy to commit a non-forcible felony. He has been also released on a $10,000 secured bond and also has a preliminary hearing on February 13th, which is a Friday, Friday the 13th.
So
we're following that
We're
one.
following that one.
Okay, we got one more. And this one, you guys, what do we tell you every week when we sign off? Lock your doors. Lock your cars.
Car doors, houses.
Bettendorf police have made an arrest in connection with a series of vehicle burglaries in the city over the past few months. Now, a post on the department's Facebook page says that on January 6th, police asked for the public's help to identify suspects in vehicle burglaries along Central Avenue. After months of investigation, officers recovered a palm print from one of the victim vehicles, which led to a suspect. They were able to recover several stolen firearms and arrested a juvenile suspect. So unless this gets bumped up to adult court, we won't be able to follow it.
No, we won't see any of it. But
however,
you can help.
Yeah. If you know anything, please call Bettendorf Police. But the post concludes that over 90% of the burglarized vehicles were unlocked.
And that's how you can help.
And yes, you can lock your doors.
And I forgot to say one other thing.
Oh, our disclaimer.
Our disclaimer. We want to go, Sharon? Come on.
Yes. Linda and I cannot give any kind of legal advice or recommend attorneys because we don't have any legal training and you want experts for that sort of thing.
And it would be a conflict of interest because
That
we
too.
do know some attorneys.
That's
so,
true.
I forgot to say that. But once again, you heard Sharon, you heard this, and I remember this in January when cars are being burglarized. Lock them.
Lock them.
Lock your cars.
Lock your cars. All the doors.
And we'll see you next week.